We're going to be doing MoshPit by Kodak Black. We're going to be recreating the beat. This is what the song sounds like. Just the beat. So first things first, let's do tempo. So the tempo of the song is 158 BPM. And then I'll do markers here. So the intro is from measure 1 to measure 9. So you just click the global view button right here, press plus, and then it lets you add a marker, and you can just label it along with me for song sections, because it's generally a good idea to take the sections of songs that you like and then maybe apply them to your own music. Intros, measure 1. Beat chorus A comes in on measure 9. Juice WRLD feature enters on bar 25 and beat chorus 1. Verse A happens measure 33. Beat chorus B happens 41, means the chorus is a bit different. Verse B happens measure 65. Verse A happens measure 73. Beat slash chorus A happens again on measure 81. The outro happens on measure 97, and then the song ends on measure 105. Let's do it instrument by instrument. So the first thing I'm doing is using a marimba. Open a new software instrument with a plus, software instrument, and then I'm going to go into mallet, marimba, and that's the first instrument we're using. It sounds like this. Cool, so I picked this out with my ear. It does take a while to be able to develop that skill. I'm a working musician. I play guitar and bass, but you guys don't have to necessarily know how to do that quite yet. Let me just tell you the notes. So the way that I did this is I picked out the bass notes first, like the lower notes. So if I just delete all these higher notes, then we can hear the lower notes. And so these are all eighth notes. And so a way that you can make that a little more clear is just go into custom here. So you're going to click this arrow, go into custom, and then change your default 16th notes to 8th notes. And that'll switch your grid to be a little bit smaller like this. So you can go ahead and draw those in by clicking here and pencil tool if you want to, or you can play them, whatever you like. I've got a C, a G, an A, and a B with the D happening at the same time on the first measure. Second measure, F sharp, an F sharp octave, a G, a D, and another D. The third measure, I've got a C, an F sharp, a B, and an A with a D. Okay, so you've got the third measure, it sounds like this. Then the fourth measure is this, which is a C, an F sharp, an A with an F sharp, and an A at the same time. So altogether, the lower notes are this. If we add in the higher notes, we're going to be this. So we've got G, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, G, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. Then we've got a G, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, G. Then we've got an A. The way I made these green is I went into velocity and reduced them just a little bit. So now I'm going to add back in the bass. That's the main melodic part of this song. What you can do here is just make sure that this is reaching measure 5, and then just Command R to loop. I repeated that twice. I pressed Command R here. For the beat chorus, I'm just going to repeat it again. Then I'm going to go into this MIDI, highlight all of it, and I'm going to drag it up an octave. So then it sounds like this instead. So we've got 2 lower octaves, and then we've got 4 higher octaves. So then I just take this, Command R 3 times, and then we're going to have it go back down the octave when the feature rapper comes in to add some difference to the song. So then I just copy this one, go over here and paste it. And that happens 2 times. Then we've got the verse, which is still lower octave. From the Juice WRLD enter to the verse, that's 4 times with the lower octave. And then the beat chorus B comes in on measure 41. We've got a higher octave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Then the verse B comes in. And then we got a lower octave 2 times. And then we have it another 2 times for verse A. Then we have the higher octave. So that happens 1, 2, 3, 4 times for the beat chorus A. 5 times for the outro. And then we actually go down the octave for one last repetition. So now the second instrument, marimba, I went to this track and Command D to duplicate it. And then I recorded this. Just the high part. This kind of has an overdriven feel. I press X to go into the mix window here, and I check on this marimba. And so all I did was add some distortion. The way I added it is I went into my plugins, I went to distortion, stereo. These are my settings, 12 on drive, 2,900 hertz. And that kind of just gives it a bit of a crunch. And you just loop that until we get to verse A. And then the pattern changes. So the notes here for the marimba, which start when the beat comes in, G, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, G, F sharp, F sharp, D, G, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, G, A. Command R, Command R, Command R, Command R, Command R. And then when we get into verse A, here are the notes. D, C sharp. Just like that. And it just repeats that way. Then when we get back into the beat chorus, we're going to go ahead and highlight all this stuff and then copy it, paste it. And then verse B, again, we've got this type of MIDI here. So I'm just copying this, pasting it here, repeating it, Command R right here. And then I've got 4 more of the beat chorus right here. And then you're out on that. So that's the first 2 instruments there. It's just marimba. This marimba has some drive on it in the mix window. The way you get to the mix window again is press X. The next one is overtone that I heard. That's what I heard. Made a new software instrument, synthesizer, bell, go all the way down, tubular materials. And the notes here are D sharp, D, 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 D sharp, D sharp, D, A sharp, D sharp, D, 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 D sharp, F. So this is it. Loop that for the entire song. It never changes. The next thing I have is this Retrosynth new software instrument. I just clicked the classic piano, the default one that it gives you. Pressed I to go into my inspector window, clicked on the instrument here, E piano, the arrows, and I went to Retrosynth stereo. This is what my settings look like. I didn't really do very much to it. I increased the vibrato and it is slightly detuned, but other than that, this is pretty much default settings. The notes for this are going to be C, B, C, B, C, B, C, B. Sounds like this with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no change there at all. I just repeated it until 97. After that, I heard this big boom in the song. So the way I got that is it sounded kind of like timpanis to me. To create a new software instrument, orchestral, percussion, timpani. And then the notes I did, F sharp and an F sharp. Now the way I got that effect is I pressed X to go to my mix window, timpani. I made a bus send, made it go to bus 9. You can do any bus, just do bus, click any of them. Bus 9 is here. Plugins, delay, stereo delay. And here are the settings. 380 milliseconds is the delay time, feedback 45%, 46. To make sure that your send volume right here is all the way up. That way you get a lot of delay and not a lot of attack from the actual instrument. So that is the timpani. Then we've got these cool effects that happen. It's a reverse timpani. I bounced that in place. I went here. I did Control B to bounce it in place. Here's my new bounced in place timpani. I right-clicked it, click this top one, reverse. So then when I reversed it, I put it on measure 31 so that it would come into effect right when the verse happened. I did that again before the chorus came in on measure 39 and then on measure 79. So measure 31, 39, and 79 all have the reverse timpani sound effects. So now we can get into the 808, which is the meat of the song. So the way I did this is I built my own 808 and I layered it with a kick drum. Here's how you do that. I just made a new software instrument. I to open the inspector window. It should just be the classic piano, the default. I went into the E piano here, changed it to Alchemy. Then I go into Alchemy, Advanced, go to File, and initialize the preset. That'll delete everything. What an 808 originally was a sine wave bass. So what I did here, these are all my settings that I have. I just have a sine, a micro kick, and then I put it on thump. What I did do is add some compression and distortion onto that. If I take those off, really quiet, it's just pretty much a sine wave bass. So I went in and I added distortion to this one. It gave it this. A little bit more grit. And then I added another distortion plugin on it because why not? It looks like this, the normal distortion one. With that, it sounds like this. I added a compressor by going into plugins, dynamics, compressor, stereo. This is what it looks like. Super compressed, threshold all the way up, ratio about right here with all of these settings. What I did after that, I made a new software instrument, electronic drum kit, 808 flex, and I just used the preset on that. This one, this kick. All I did was record myself playing a note for the synth and the kick. Put these two together. What you can do here, you just want to bounce the whole thing. So I'm just going to highlight both of them, make sure they're both soloed and metronome's off, and I press Command B, and then I bounce it as a WAV file, not an MP3, okay, because we want all of the information in the file. So a WAV file, press OK, bounce it to your desktop, then take that WAV file that you just bounced, and then we're going to input it into a sampler. What I'm going to do is make a new software instrument, press I to go into the inspector window, click this on your E piano, which should be default, go into Quick Sampler, single sample, and then drag that file from your desktop into this sampler. And then you'll be able to move it around your keyboard. The next thing I did was I went into this sampler and I just added some more distortion. Then I made the notes. And then it loops. I'm going to switch my grid back to be 16th notes. So we've got C sharp, C, 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 and then a C low octave, and then an F sharp, an F sharp, and then two Fs. Loop that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then on the verse A there's a different bass, and I'll get to that, so I don't loop it for these measures, and then I come back in looping for measure 41, and then I stop again on 73, and then I go again from 81 to 97, and I'm out. The next thing I want to do is add the slide bass, which is for the other sections of the song. So I built this one myself. I'll show you how to do it. Make a new instrument track, go into the E piano, change it to Alchemy. So this is the synthesizer we use in Logic. And then go to Advanced, File, Initialize Preset. And this is my preset. I just made a sine wave and a saw wave, and I increased glide, which makes the notes glide to and from each other. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple slide bass. The notes here are G, F sharp, B, C sharp, D, and you just loop that, and that's the verse. Then you loop that again, Command R, and then you go into the next verse and you do the same thing again. So just copy that and paste it on measure 73, 77. On the slide bass, I added a distortion plugin. I added a compressor, which looks like that, super high compression, mid ratio. And then I added a bit crusher distortion, and that gave me this sound. The next thing we want to go into is the drums. And then after the drums, we're pretty much done with the whole song. You make a new software instrument, go into electronic drum kit, 808 flex. For the hi-hat, I'm using this one, the hi-hat closed. For the snare, I'm using this snare 2 with the clap 2. I have clap 2 and snare 2 happening at the same time. And so the clap and snare come in on the 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that happens for mostly the whole song. And obviously you can hear those hi-hats going. I'm doing a lot of rolls here. I opened up this drum kit with this arrow. Here is my hi-hat loop. It looks like this. This is what this sounds like. So if I slowed this down, that's what the pattern is. I'm doing C sharp, 2 of those. I'm taking the sample and I'm just going do, 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 do. Those are called hi-hat rolls. Pretty common in trap music. That's the loop for the hi-hats. Then I just looped that from measure 9 to measure 33, and I copied and pasted from 41 all the way to measure 65, and then I went 81 to 97. So now we've got the snares, we've got the hi-hat rolls. Now let's get these other things. So now we're kind of adding auxiliary instruments. We're adding cool effects and stuff. So let's go ahead and add this ride cymbal, because you hear this come in later. If you just heard that, those happen on the 4 of measure 17. That's when the first ride cymbal happens. So I'm just using ride 808 flex. The next one happens on the 19th measure, on the 4th again. The next one is the 4th of 21. The next one is the 4th of 23. And then that's pretty much it for the rides. There's another sample for the snares that happens. So listen. 3. So it's the same so far. Then we start to add this. Do you hear that? they start to add this other snare sample. That one is going to happen on the end of 1 of measure 17, and then this next one is going to happen on measure 20 on the end of 2. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. So I've got just the snare happening on the 3 for 2 repetitions here, and then I have the extra snare sample happening 4 times, and then I loop that again. So 2 normal snares, 2 repetitions of the extra snare, 2 normal snares, 2 repetitions of the extra snare, and then I have normal snare, cool repetition, cool repetition. So now we can get into the other stuff. I've got this reverse ride cymbal happening for an effect. Let's listen to it. So all I did there was record myself playing a ride cymbal, and then I reversed it. Go into your DMD, find the ride, playback, reverse, and then it'll be reversed when you play it. I wanted to use the original ride cymbal in my kit without having to mess around with it too much. And so I did bounce in place. I have it on the 8th measure so that it comes in pretty good on the 9th measure. And then I have it working with the timpanis on measure 32, 40, 80. That is everything that we're going to be using. So I'm muting these because these are what I used to create my original 808 for this song. One last thing that I had is automation. So press A on your keyboard. On the drums, I just automated verse B. If you just go into your mix window on 808 Flex, make a channel EQ by going into EQ, channel EQ stereo. What I'm doing is automating this high cut filter. Click right here where it says volume, and then go down to channel high cut frequency. On measure 65, draw a node here, draw a node right after it, draw a node right before 73, and then 1 on 73. And that way, it will dip. The EQ will cut out the high end just for that section, so you can see it happen here. So the snare is still there, and I deleted the hi-hats. You hear that. And then the song continues. But altogether, this is what the song sounds like in total. Just the beat. Okay guys, so that's MoshPit by Kodak Black. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like, give it a comment on any other songs you'd like to see me break down or explain. Thank you very much and have a good day.